Welcome to Getting Back Up, where grief meets growth.
Two men, two fathers, and one shared journey of rebuilding.
We're talking about life after cancer, love, loss, and everything no one tells you.
Well, let's get into it.
This is another tough one, I think.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the harder conversations that you will have.
I think it might be the hardest conversation. And what we're talking about today, we're talking about having to tell your kids that their mother or their parent has passed away.
Yeah, let's start with you, Jamal. So, how old were your kids when Janice passed? Around what age?
So Tahir was 22. Jackie was 12. And Zaya was 8.
Okay.
7. Zaya was 7.
You guys are in Austin?
Yeah, we were still in Austin.
Okay.
So Tahir was not at the house at the time. He was actually visiting his grandfather, who had an accident, and who they also felt was possibly going to pass. So
what I recall, weren't there a lot of difficult situations and touch and go and people's health at that time? It wasn't just Janice.
Yeah, it wasn't just Janice. Okay. It was our uncle, or her uncle, Uncle Ken. So her cousin's father. It was Tahir's grandfather.
Wow.
Dr. Bell. So it was just a lot,
So where were you when you told them?
Yeah.
Whether you want to talk about each of the children and telling, or what you remember from that moment with one or the other?
So again, remember Janice passed in the house. They were upstairs. Actually, they were in. Yeah, I think they were in their different rooms. So I think Jackie was in her room. Zaya was, playing. And again, as when Janice passed, I asked her friend to go and watch the kids, and just kind of hold them down for a second and not say anything. And before the police came and anything else, I had, because remember I called 911. And so before 911 arrived, I had, ran upstairs. Actually, no, it was after 911 arrived. I had gone upstairs.
Oh.
So again, this is all in the house, right? I mean, this is within minutes, within within half hour.
So let me I want to make sure of something that up until this point, the children had no understanding that she may pass.
They knew she was very sick.
Okay.
They knew we had hospice in the house. They knew she was in a lot of pain. They spent hours with her.
So Tahir may know more about what hospice meant.
Yeah, Tahir knew more.
Okay, but Jackie and Zaya.
Yeah. And I think, to say that Tahir knew more, I think for a 20-something-year-old young man whose mother is battling cancer, like, everybody was hopeful. He was hopeful, right? Again, I would say I knew the most, or Janice knew the most. I knew the most. But I think we were all still hopeful, right? Whole lot of prayers. Her sister had brought a whole lot of scriptures and posted them all over the house and in every room.
You can use all of it.
Yeah.
Whether you believe or not.
Yeah.
You can use all of it.
Yeah. So the kids were upstairs playing. Evelyn was upstairs with them. That's Janice's friend. She was upstairs with them, and I'd gone up and asked for her. I said, "Hey, I got them," and I sat them down, and I told them, your mom has been sick for a long time, and unfortunately, her body could no longer fight. As much as she wanted to fight, and as long as she wanted to be with us, her body could no longer put up the fight that her heart and her mind wanted to put up. And, you know, I think obviously feeling out with them in the moment, like where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was going up there first. It was like the longest walk. Talk about like the
heavy steps,
the heaviest steps, right? You know, you talk about the walk off the plank, you know, or whatever. But
right.
I mean, I think it was me, you know, saying those words, but then also watching them very closely
mm-hmm.
and seeing how they would react and how they would respond. And, you know, I said, you know, so I said that to them and kind of made sure that they were absorbing it. And
in silence?
In silence,
okay.
yeah.
So you said, and then
I just
paused.
I paused, and then, you know, and then after that I said, you know, and now she's with God.
Mm-hmm.
She's with the angels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I was 7,
mm-hmm.
right? And they both looked at me, and they didn't even start to cry, which was, in a way, scary, right? Because I think I was looking for a reaction. I was expecting a breakdown,
right.
But they didn't. And Jackie, you know, looked at me and kind of with this inquisitive look on her face. And, you know, Jackie's 12 and she's mm-hmm. absorbing. And then Zaya, who's 7, looks at me and she said, "Did you tell Tahir yet?"
Your 22-year-old.
My 22-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So the 7-year-old is worried about the 22-year-old. And she says, and I said, "No, I'm going to call Tahir." And
mm-hmm.
she says, "Who's going to be with him?" And that was so, I mean, such a revealing moment for
mm-hmm.
me about the strength of all these kids,
mm-hmm.
but also, in particular, the strength of a 7-year-old. You know, exhibiting selflessness, right? And I thought about it in the context of, so Zaya, to rewind a little bit, Janice found out she had breast cancer mm-hmm. because Zaya, playing with her one day, leaned on her breast and Janice felt the burning sensation.
Whoa, okay.
Right? Like, so for me, it was like, wow, this all comes back to this 7-year-old, this little girl, finding this thing, helping helping her mother to find this thing. But then at the end of this thing, she's the one who's still checking on everybody. She's making sure her older brother's okay.
Wow.
You know, so, and she's not crying. She's processing it. And in that moment, she's asking about her brother. And then, you know, I'm holding their hands. I give them a hug. I pull them both close to me and I'm holding them. And I feel them just stiff, like they don't know how to move. And, you know, Jackie looks at me. I let them go. And I'm like, "How are you feeling?" And, you know, they both pause and they're like, "I don't know. I can't remember." I think Jackie was like, "I don't know." And then Jackie looks at me and says, "Can I go on a walk?" And I said, and she had a phone at the time, and I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yeah, I just want to go on a walk." 12-year-old. And I like, "Yes, but you have to promise to answer the phone when I call you." And she's like, "Okay." And so she leaves, and, you know, I walk downstairs and they both walk down. And I hugged Jackie. And at the time, Jackie was in, you know, counseling. They both were in counseling. So at that moment, I'd said, "Just make sure you answer the phone when I call." And she puts on her sneakers and leaves.
So yeah. They didn't go to the room?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
They heard, then the way they process their responses, and then Jackie wanted
to go on a walk.
Yeah. Okay.
And so then Zaya comes downstairs, she goes in her room, and then she starts crying. And by then, my sister-in-law is there, comes, and my brother-in-law, they're both there. And my sister-in-law, she goes in her room and she checks on her and comes back out, and Zaya's crying. So we're back and forth in and out I call Jackie after a while, and she answered the phone.
Okay.
I'm like, where are you? And they come back, and after a while, they ask, Zaya comes, and she says, can I go see Mom? This is maybe an hour later. Can I go see Mom? And I tell her, I'm like, yeah, where's your brother? I think, Jackie was back by then. And she comes, and Jackie also wants to go see, and they both go in, and they stand there for a few minutes, and I leave them. I walked out, left them there, kind of stayed at the edge because I could see see into the room from an angle outside, and they are just standing there, and you know, they're holding her hand and you know, ruffling the blankets around her, and then they both come out, and then they both go back and, you know, go into their rooms, and at this point I have to do this because the body is going to be removed at some point. You know, so they go through that process. I'll fast forward. I called Tahir. I called Tahir's uncle and aunts who were with him in, I think they were still in Jersey at the time before he got to visit his grandfather. So I call them, and I'm like, hey, I call his uncle, and I'm like, hey, his uncle is in Jersey, and I'm like, hey, can you go find Tahir? Janice passed away, and I don't want to tell him unless some family's with them. So they go. I think his uncle, and then my sister-in-law, Janice's sister, I believe, was also with him. And we tell him, and I believe they told him before by the time that I called him.
Oh, okay.
And he was devastated. I mean, I can't fathom being told that, but also at that age, you've already lost your father. And, you know, he was distraught, I think is an understatement. But I was more worried about him because he had been through so much. And you know,
again, just for the audience, this is the stepson.
This is my stepson.
Right. So he had lost now
two parents.
His
biological parents.
Yeah.
And that was the one that I worried most because the heartbreak for him. And strangely, rightfully so, Zaya worried about him too. Right. She knew.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there, so I don't remember every single detail about, but I just remember like knowing that I'm going to have to call him and talk to him, and, you know, and he got through, and he's like, how are the kids? How's Zaya and Jackie? And that was the thing for them. Like, they were so worried about each other. And I was thankful for that because I knew that in order to move forward for me, I needed them to be tight.
Yeah, move together. Look toward each other, not away.
Yeah. So
yeah, man.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's nothing that I want to.
Yeah.
You know, that we would want to wish on anybody.
So wait, when did Tahir fly back to?
So that day, Tahir again, he had flown. Ironically, Janice had told him, "I don't need you here." In so many words, before she passed.
Really?
She had said, "You should go visit your grandfather. You should go," because we knew his grandfather had an accident by this time.
Okay.
So she's like, you should go visit. And he's like, "Ma, but what about you?" She's like, "I'm fine." I think she knew she didn't want him there. That's my belief. Right? Just the way everything happened, the way the people who left when they left, and how things. So she wanted him to go, and so he had gone to New Jersey first, and then he was going to go to Maryland to see his grandfather. So he talked to me. He was like, "I'm going to come back." I'm like, "No, go see your grandfather." So he actually went to see his grandfather. I believe that's the order, but he went to see his grandfather, and then I said, "When you finish, go see your grandfather, and then you can come here." And then his grandfather passed away. You know, a couple of days later.
That's a lot, man.
It's the loss that he in particular had experienced during that time. So he flew back probably three or 4 days later, to come home. And I told him, like, there's not much you can do here at this moment. So go spend time with your grandfather and check on him and spend time with your family there. And then you could come back and then come back here. So that was the crazy. So
it's incredible, man. Your children, there's some amount of old soul there.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And is that the resilience?
I'd like to say it's me. I like to say
that's your right. Yeah.
I like to say
I taught
that the wisdom and all my
that's all me. That's not James. No, that's me.
Yeah, would have made its way so early in life, but I don't believe so.
Oh, I passed that genetically. Yeah. That's direct from my side of the family.
Jones. That
okay.
But no, I don't know. I mean, I think we were very, I think they just experienced a lot at a young age. Just in, our whole family just going through different things and being such a close family that they got to see that. And I think they, by osmosis,
there was of
something. So, but
that's incredible, man. That's the importance of family and those we call family.
Yeah.
And modeling behavior, you responding in the right way to the responses of your children.
Yeah.
Which is going to serve them later in life because they're going to have potentially they'll have families and situations, and this is going to happen over and over again. And they have some experience in this. They have pedigree, if you want to even call it that, as it relates to
and I like to say, and I tell all three of them that this experience will make them stronger. It's a sad experience for sure, devastating, but they will be so much stronger and resilient and so much more capable of helping others than without this experience. Because that's what I've told myself. I believe it. Right.
Sure. And it's been done for them.
And it's been done. Yeah. Right. So that's my thought. But listen, what's your, our dynamics are different, but having to tell nonetheless is still difficult. So what?
Taking the glasses off for this one. Yeah. Taking the prescriptions off for this one.
I haven't gotten to my readers yet, but I know they're coming. But
man.
Yeah. What was that like for you?
Going back an episode. Or so. I had mentioned that my father-in-law, who came in right as Nalani was passing, days before I should say, and then when Nalani passed, we're also in that mindset of, okay, here are all these things I have to do and people I have to tell and get ready for the next steps. And he had said to me, because she died late at night, early morning.
All right. Okay.
And I wanted to go home and start that process of, okay, I need to tell my children. He's like, no, wait until the morning. Bad news is best told in the morning.
Okay. I
said, all right.
I don't know. Okay.
Was that?
I don't know why that's possible.
I don't know. Maybe because you have that whole day to process
that's true.
And not told, and then you're supposed to go to sleep now.
It's true.
What?
Are you going to lose less sleep?
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, older wisdom.
You go with it.
Yeah.
So therefore, I called my friend, who was one of Nalani's best friends, Melody. Who we talked about, want to have on the show, on the podcast. She can tell her story because her husband died of brain cancer.
Right.
So my point here in saying that is, she's gone through this.
She's gone through it. Right.
She's gone through it with her children and how to tell them. So I had called her. A lot of this is a blur, but here are the elements of it, components of how we did this. I called her. I called the therapist. I said, hey, we want to meet at your office tomorrow Nalani has passed.
Wow.
And all of that.
Yeah.
So we set up time in her office.
Okay.
Comfortable
with the kids.
Right.
Okay.
The counselor or therapist, Melody, my girls. Melody has a daughter who's the same age as my youngest daughter. They hang out. They're two peas in a pod. Well, they put her in the car out in the waiting room, I think is what happened. So it's funny because those two, they're inseparable when they get together, and they call them chamomile because the combination of the two names, Camille and Cara.
Right.
Yeah. So caramel. Sorry,
like
caramel.
It. I like it.
Anyway, so we went in the office, comfortable, familiar confines for the girls because they've been going to therapy.
Right.
Brother, I'm trying to hold it together as best I can because I know I didn't know when my tears were going to come in that moment because of their reaction.
Yes, exactly.
So we're in and it's bright, there's candy and all the, and I don't remember who started talking. I think the therapist and then I said, girls, you know your mother was very sick and last night she passed. And it was looking at me as if, wait, is that true? Is that possible?
Yeah.
And then the tears started coming. And my voice, in even telling it, just trembling. You could hear it in the vocal cords. And I was trying to hold it together myself. And then so beautiful, the trio of people in there who have dealt with loss. And the therapist saying, whatever reaction, this is fine.
Right.
This is the right, however you want to respond. And Melody saying, Camille went through this too, her daughter.
Right.
That we went through it, and we're here for you. We love you. All of the things you forget to what you really, really said, other than the spirit of we're here for you. How incredible your mother was. Already starting to tell those stories, and give them that moment. Did they
ask any questions?
They didn't.
Or was more just like the immediate reaction?
Yeah, and it wasn't of what or whatever because we've been talking about it all along.
Yeah.
Talking about cancer that was age appropriate early on when she had the diagnosis, then going through the treatment and everything related to that. And then when the recurrence, then it was terminal.
Right.
Then it was, here's where we are now.
Right.
And here's what's going to happen going forward. They were just about to start school.
Yeah, well, so am I. Yeah, mine, we're about to start, and we'll talk about that because that leads into like the whole planning, the services and timing and all of that. But okay,
exactly.
So they were also transitioning into this new change.
Right.
Wow.
And it was, I didn't want them to feel singled out at school. So in a prior episode of our podcast, you and I talked about
telling the principal.
Exactly. And the people who needed to know.
Yep.
If you see this from the children, know why. And you don't have to tell everyone. Understand what they're going through and why.
Right.
And so, man. Wow. So that's what we did. So it's the therapist setting the scene for, and this is what we do coming up.
Did you guys talk about that in counseling with your therapist before? Because I remember you had told me like the first time you were to go back to, right? You talked about how Nalani didn't tell the full, what was really going on to the therapist. So you guys had kind of tackled that and processed that with the therapist at some point?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. She was, and I think I made a conscious choice of allowing the girls to have a very private space with the therapist. Because I didn't think it was right to, what did they say? Because that doesn't,
that's their thing. Yeah,
that's theirs.
Yeah.
And it's really to check in with the therapist to ask, hey, what can I?
That's it. Yeah. How can I help?
Right.
Yeah. What tools do I need to pick up and learn so that I can help them process this thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as I think I might have mentioned before, what you and I talk about all the time is I became mother and father.
Right.
And so back to our musical roots and how much we enjoy music, it's that fader, that crossfader. It's where does it pan left, pan right? Do I need to be in the middle?
Right.
Do I need to be disciplinarian? Do I need to be the nurturer? Is it a combination of this? Let them know they're not in trouble for as things move on, not talking about the grief and all that aspect, but other things that come up just in their lives. With the subtext of, and they lost their mother.
Yeah, because and then now, right? I mean, that was the thing for me too. And I struggled with this, right? Because again, it's like the pressure that I've got to hold it together for everybody. Like I struggled with the pressure of, giving them, I wouldn't say struggled with the pressure of giving them the space, but because I was so focused on them and so worried about everybody else and trying to be strong for everybody, when I let myself cry, it was either not in front of people or at kind of the odd times, right? And I think to me, it's good that you cried with them.
Yes.
At that moment.
To show them. Yes.
Because I think they were in such Zaya and Jackie in particular were in shock that mom is downstairs and she's not here anymore. And like they didn't cry in this and right then and there, they cried later. That like I felt like, okay, if they're strong right now, I gotta be strong. Right. So I checked in with them. Are you sure? Are you okay? And I would tell them like, I'm sad. Right. I would tell them all these emotions that I'm feeling.
Very important.
Right. But like to your point, like being able to cry and be vulnerable together, I think that was so important for them and so important for you.
Yeah.
And I had those moments later, but immediately I think it was the craziness of the setting that in a way kind of altered that. And at least for me, I wish when I think back on my experience, I wish that we had space from her. Like part of me, there's a part where I'm like, maybe they should have been in a friend's house that morning, or maybe they should have been someplace else. Do we know? We didn't know. But like, those are things that I think about when we think about what could have been different, at least for me. Your scenario, I don't know, was there anything for you that you thought?
I think I did everything as well as I possibly could have.
Yeah.
Because it was bring someone who's had this experience, bring in a professional who deals with grief and loss and how to cope and however you process it as two young girls, that's fine.
Yeah.
And we'll talk here in a clinical sense, and you have your mom you have your dad.
Yeah.
You have your auntie and these others.
Yep.
And so I think that's the way it was going to work out, because I had all of the appropriate support around me. So I think I did it as well as I possibly could. It
sounds like you did. I feel like that's the one thing you were allowed space to process.
Yep.
Time to process and time to create the setting that you needed, that your family needed at that time. And I think that was very helpful. And I don't think, like, I love the fact for Janice that she got to pass at home in a comfortable place as it could.
Right.
But the downside is because everything needs to happen so relatively quickly now.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have that time and space. And I think for anybody who's like thinking about the ideal dynamics of losing a partner, there are none. But like when you think about like
ideal and passing,
when it does happen, like
those two things,
so
don't necessarily coincide.
Exactly. Yeah. Before we go, I think it's like we kind of like I think it's we were thinking about like what are the things that help? What are the resources?
Right.
Preparing the kids. There's a lot of resources out there. There's a few books. The Invisible String. When Dinosaurs Die. There's some that are more detailed and more age appropriate, depending on the age of your children. I know we read a few to the kids to prepare them, at least foundationally for her passing, or just for the fact that she had cancer. Period. Any other resources that you thought of?
Well, the therapists, maybe specifically a grief therapist, but I think the therapists recommend to us by part of our community, or like she's my sister almost, that I mentioned before. She was perfect for that role to balance the grief and loss and just everything that's happening at their age. You I think you had mentioned something about grief camps and whatever.
Yeah, there was a group. So ours, again, we were in Austin at the time. There was an organization there called Wonders and Worries.
Okay.
And really great people, really great community. Their primary focus was on supporting the children whose parents were diagnosed with anything, right? So there were children whose parents had cancer. There were parents who had, all types
of things,
a whole host of things.
Yeah.
And they would actually educate the children on what these diseases were. So the kids would come home with bags of, Ziploc bags with blood and marshmallow, or food coloring and marshmallows, and this is what blood is, right? So, but they also helped to prepare the kids, because there were also kids in the groups who had lost their parents. So the kids saw different types. So I think they were a really great, helpful group. So there
are probably in the communities of the people we're speaking to,
a lot of different organizations. Seek that out. Yeah. But yeah, I think, the other part is, we talked about it, leaning on the community, leaning on the schools, the counselors there, right? They're the ones, when your kids are in school, they're the ones watching your kids, and teachers are there.
They've seen it before.
They've seen it before, and they're the ones who are dialing into your kids 8 hours a day, so I think those are all the resources that I could think of. And I'm sure there's a whole host of others, but.
And as we find it, we'll pop more up on our socials. Yeah. So, Yep.
So with that, and what do you I think as we think about this process for us, I don't think there's a wrong or right. There's probably a right, there's probably a wrong, and there's definitely a right.
We'll not talk about it. Sure it's not.
But I think, the way we think about it is really, just you have to prepare. Yeah. Right. Like you have to think about that. It's honestly something that none of us want to do, but we eventually have to do it. We've got to tell somebody about loss, whether it's a grandparent because of age or whether it's a pet. Like we've got to find a way to have these uncomfortable conversations.
It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
You have to just think about and be thoughtful in that moment and open your space. When you were talking about pausing. Yeah. We don't necessarily have to we're so used to talking and filling space. We don't have to do that.
Right.
Let reaction then carry into something that helps that person. You have to see those cues. So give yourself grace in these situations.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be poetic. It doesn't have to be the perfect speech. It just has to be something that you're able to tune into.
Yeah.
Your children.
It's the right words for your children, whomever it is that you have to deliver the news. In this case, in this episode, it is with your children. You just need to show up. That's what you have to do. You just have to show up and spend that time in those situations.
That's it. And you said it. I think you wrapped it up pretty well. That's it. Again, another heavy episode, and hopefully you learned something, heard something that resonated from this. I know I did, as I always do when I talk to this brother here. But we appreciate you joining us again. And thank you for joining us. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining us on Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death. If something in today's episode spoke to you, pass it on, because somebody out there needs to hear it.
For sure. We're on all the social mausoleums, so follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Mostly it will be in the form of Get Back Up Podcast.
And be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.
And remember, getting knocked down is part of life.
But getting back up, that's how we live.
We'll see y'all next time.